Hello, my dear students. Welcome back to the series about stories in English. And today, our story is Super Sharks. Let's get started. Here's the pictures. And we have some words to look out for. The first one is disappointed, to show a feeling that let you down because something didn't turn out how you wanted it to. We have another one, excitement is a noun that describes a happy feeling when you are looking forward to something that you think will happen. We have the word instrument is an object that is used to make music. Suggest or suggesting from the verb subject, suggest. Okay, so it means you give an idea for people to think about. Tinkle, a bit of a pricky, tickly feeling in your body. Vibrate and vibrated from the vibrate. Move very quickly on one way and then the other, like shaking. Whistle is a noun, an object that you blow to make a high-pitched sound, often to get people to stop or to listen. So that we have some new words in the story about super sharks. And let's get started with the story. And with super sharks, we have 8 chapters. Okay. We have 8 chapters, chapter 1 to chapter 8. And let's get started to know what happened in each chapter. Number 1, chapter 1. We have the picture here. Ollie looked around the living room. He thought he had finished opening all his birthday presents. He knew he had been very lucky this year. There were toys, books, and computer games, and wrapping paper everywhere. I think you missed one, pointed out his dad. Ollie hadn't spotted it before. It was under the table, past all the others. Ollie wasn't quite sure how he'd not spotted it before. Unlike other presents, this one was wrapped only in brown paper and tied with string. There was no card or tag. Funny looking present, Ollie thought, as he began to tear into the plain paper. The excitement soon slipped from his face as he saw what was inside. Oh, sharks! That was a bit snoring boring. Well, they are quite snazzy sharks, said Mom. She picked up the pack, held together, and with a belt of cardboard, turning it over in her hands. There's no need to be rude. Look, each pair is a different color. It has a different picture on, too. There's a new pair for every day at school. Who are they from? Do you know? Ollie swore. Doesn't say. Can I play with the new game now? I suppose so, replied Mom. She frowned as she added the shark to the pile of presents. Chapter 2. The next day was Monday. Ollie yawned as he got dressed in his school clothes. Dad handed him the pack of shorts he'd received from his birthday. Ollie sat on his bed and pulled on the first pair of shorts from the pack, choosing a green pair with a picture of a frog. Looking in the mirror, he licked his hand and wiped the small spots from his glasses. As he slid off the bed, he began to notice a funny feeling in his feet. He blinkled and looked down, swirling his toe inside the green shorts. It was a feeling he couldn't quite describe. Not quite an itching or rubbing, more like a tingling. He wasn't sure he liked these new shocks. He tried to put the feeling out of his head as he rubbed his back and headed out the door to school. After he and Dad arrived at the playground, Ollie ran over to join his friends. His feet were feeling bouncier than usual. It was a bit like being an astronaut on the moon, springing into the air but not being pulled straight back down. He jumped over Sarah's school bag, which she had put down on the ground. But it wasn't a normal little jump. His jump was an enormous leap. It took him up over the back and over all of his friends. His legs circled in the air as if riding an invisible bike until he landed safely on the other side of the playground. Wow! Cried Sarah. It was amazing. How did you do that? I have no idea, replied Ollie, blinking in surprise. But it was really good fun. For the rest of the day, Ollie kept on jumping. He bounced over benches. He hurdled over hedges. He sprang over the top of the swings. When a class football got stuck up the tree, Ollie jumped up and safely got it back. His teacher, Miss Janowski, said that it was very impressive, but he should try to keep his feet on the ground unless he wanted to give himself an injury. Ollie was having far too much fun to do that. The only thing that's different is these green shocks, he said to Sarah. Well, maybe those shocks have super jumping powers, she replied. Ollie bounced and hurdled and sprang all the way home. Chapter 3. On Tuesday, Ollie was extremely tired from his day of jumping. Still, he got up and looked for the green shocks to wear again. You can't wear the same smelly shocks, said Dad. They were in the washing basket. Now, I've washed them ready for the next week. Ollie was rather disappointed. He pulled out another pair from the new pack. This time, they were yellow with a picture of an elephant. He bounced a little to see how they felt. It didn't seem like they had the super jumping powers. When he lifted his feet into the air, they became straight back down as normal. However, there was that strange kind of tingle in his feet, which told him something was a little unusual. Slowly, Ollie walked down into the playground to meet Sarah. Not only had he lost his power to jump, but now his feet began to feel really heavy. It was like dragging two great shocks inside his shorts. The more he walked, the heavier they felt. Where are your green super jumping shocks? Asked Sarah. In the wash, gasped Ollie, panting like a dog. Do the yellow ones have super jumping powers? No, these have a terrible power. The yellow shocks seem to be super heavy. It was a long, tiring day at school with a long, tiring walk home in wet, windy weather. Mom's umbrella was blown out of her hand. At one point, a strong gust blew her right off her feet. Ollie held on her to her tightly. Luckily, his heavy feet were rooted to the ground. His steps were slow and hard work, but he didn't get go of his mom and she didn't get blown away. At home, Ollie took off the yellow socks and threw them straight into the washing basket. He looked at the pair of new socks that were left. Does each pair have a different power? He whispered to himself. And that's the end of chapter 3. Chapter 4. The next day was Wednesday. Ollie chose the red pair of shorts. Rushing to get ready, he glanced at the picture of the sun on the side of each one, wondering that what day shocks might bring. He walked to school again with Dad. No super jumping power, no heavy feet either, nothing. Nothing except for the usual tingles suggested that something was going to happen. Do the red sharks do anything, Sarah? Asked when she saw him. Not yet, grumbled Ollie with a shrug. Wednesday mornings meant a trip to the local swimming pool. Every week, someone moaned about how cold it was in the pool. When they arrived there, everyone headed for the changing rooms. As the class began to get changed, Ollie felt his feet started to sweat. They got warmer and warmer, hotter and hotter. He changed into his trunks as he wiggled his toes around inside his shorts. He danced about feeling like he was walking over fire. He was about to pull off his socks when he had a better idea. All the others had gone from the changing rooms through to the pool. Ollie followed on his tiptoes, not wanting to press down on the soles of his feet. Getting closer to the pool, he couldn't hear Sarah and the twins, Kashira and Camilla. The squealing to each other as they sat shivering on the poolside. They were all dipping their toes in freezing cold water. Still wearing his socks, Ollie reached them and sat on the edge next to Sarah. He dipped his feet in the cooling water and shined happily. The water soon bubbled and steamed like a hot tub. Wow, Sarah cried with a smile. That's great. You've warmed up the whole pool. My red sharks have super hot powers, Ollie said. The rush of water around his sharks was the only thing stopping his feet from feeling like they were baking in an oven. He felt cooler. But everyone else had warmed up. The twins splashed about, happy to get wet. Miss Janowski blew her whistle as the swimming teacher was ready to start the lesson. You could just take the socks off now, suggested Sarah. Oh yeah, probably a good idea, Ollie replied. He enjoyed the swimming lesson in the warm pool afterwards. When he put his school clothes back on, he stuffed his soggy red sock into his bag to take home. And that's the end of chapter 4. So hot powers is the key words for this chapter. Chapter 5. By Thursday, Ollie was a little nervous to see what adventures his socks would bring. He pulled a blue pair from the ones left. If red socks were super hot, he hoped that blue socks were not super cold. The last thing he wanted was freezing feet all day. He was beginning to think about maybe the pictures on them were a clue. If so, what could this picture mean? It looked like some musical notes. As always, there was just a tingle when he pulled the sock on. Walking to school, he first tried lifting his feet slowly to feel any difference. Then he tried jumping and running. Nothing felt out of the ordinary yet. Everyone followed Miss Janosky from the playground and hung up the coat and bags inside. Ollie was about to step into the classroom when there was a strange trumpeting noise. Everyone spun around to see what it was. The twin, Cassier and Cam Miller, both giggled. Ollie looked down at his feet and at once felt his face flush with color. He took another step, placing his foot down as carefully and gently as he could. Brr. The noise vibrated from inside his shoe, longer and louder than before. Is that you or Sarah? Not exactly me, but I think it might be my shorts, Ollie answered. I guess we just found out what the blue pair do. Oh, laughed Sarah as they headed for the seats. When the sharks again, Carrier and Camilla covered their mouths and giggles some more. This morning is our music lesson, said Miss Janosky. She began to hand out instruments. Cam Miller played a pair of shakers and Cassius at a recorder. Only one tambourine was left for Sarah and Ollie. You can have it, she said to Sarah. I don't think I need an instrument today. Now everyone laughed, including Ollie and Miss Janosky. Thursday ended up being lots of fun. The class learned to play along to a beat. Ollie tapped his feet all day with a bird and carry on all the way home too. And that's the end of chapter 5. Chapter 6. Finally, it was Friday. There was only one more pair of new socks to try, and Ollie was excited to see what they might do. Friday's socks were the pink pair. They were decorated with a picture of a raised flag. There was hardly any time for the usual tingle, and he was out the bedroom door in splash. On the way to school, Mom couldn't keep up with him. Although Ollie was excited, it felt like his feet were moving faster than he meant them to, almost faster than the rest of his body could keep up with. Carissa and Camilla were riding their bike to school. Ollie breezed past Camilla faster than she could pedal. He smiled and waved as he went by. The traffic was busy and moving slowly, So Ollie was even quicker than some of the cars. Mom shouted for him to slow down. What happened with the shocks today, Ollie? Called Carisha. Pink Shock had super running powers. He yelled as he went speed faster. No one will catch me today. At school, the only problem was keeping his feet still under the desk. It was like they wanted to carry on running, even he was sitting down. Both feet danced around, leg cross and uncrossing, leg crossing and uncrossing, palm flat on the floor, his toes pointing up. There was no stopping his feet. When lunchtime arrived, Ollie was first in the queue. However, he nearly missed out on apple pie for dessert because his feet wanted to whiz him straight past. Outside on the playground, he made use of his super speed by winning all the running races for the first time. Afterwards, when the bell rang to go inside, Miss Janaski asked everyone to help collect all the equipment. Carissa fetched some skipping ropes and Camilla picked up a hula hoop. Before Sarah has managed to get even one of the colored cones, Ollie has zoomed around collecting every other cone. 3 footballs, 4 skipping ropes, and 2 hula hoops that had rolled to the far corner of the playground. Well done, Ollie. Thank you. Miss Janowski said it was probably his favorite pair of shocks so far. And that's the end of chapter 6. Chapter 7. By the time the week arrived, Ollie was extremely tired. The birthday shocks has definitely not been snoring, boring after all. For a rest, Tuesday, Saturday and Sunday was mostly days at home with the bare feet. Although he did wear an older pair of shocks, which didn't have bright colors or pictures or superpowers. When Monday was here again, all the new shocks were washed and cleaned. Excited, Ollie pulled on the green shocks with a super jumping power. He bounced a little, but he didn't feel springy at all, not even a tingle. He tried jumping, but it was just a normal little jump. Still no tingle. He pulled off the green jumping shocks and tried the fast pink shocks with the raised flag instead. No tingles in his feet. None at all. They didn't feel the same. He tried the yellow elephant shocks, even though he didn't really want happy feet again. Nothing. Ollie poured on 1 pink shock and 1 green shock. Maybe at least one of them would start working after a while. It had taken a while each day for the powers to work, so he crossed his fingers. If he wore one of each, perhaps he'd be able to run really fast and jump really high. He hoped to have one of those superpowers back, at least. But then he remembered he was not even feeling the unusual tingle. And at the end of chapter 7. Chapter 8. Ollie, do you know you have wood shocks on today? Asked Sarah when he got to school. Yes, thank you, he replied, looking down. His bottom lip stuck out and folded his arm across his chest. I think all of the sharks might have lost their powers in the wash. What? No jumping, trucking, worming, trumpeting, running, or anything? No, I don't think so. Maybe the superpower shark's adventure is over. He signed with a shrug. The day laughed a bit too well, normal, and a bit snoring boring. Ollie had forgotten what it felt like to have nothing at all happening to his feet. Several people did notice his wood shocks. Kurt Reeser said that wood shocks were such a fun idea. Still, Ollie got home feeling very disappointed that there had been no superpowers. By bedtime, he was missing the excitement of the new shocks were more than ever. He wouldn't have even minded the super heavy power or the noisy pair. As he climbed into bed, he noticed something shoved down the side of his bedside table. It was a cardboard belt that had been wrapped around all the shocks, but there was something else. Another flattened between layers of cardboard. There must have been 6 pairs, not 5. An orange pair. Ollie's tummy flipped upside down and inside out at the shine of the shocks. As he grabbed them and turned them over in his hand, he saw that the picture was an octopus. What could it mean? Whatever happens, these socks are not going in the washing machine, he said as he laid them out with his school clothes, ready to find out what the next morning would bring. And that's all for the story, Super Shocks. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see you in next videos and next stories. Goodbye for now.